Aaron had been working on the Outer Rim colony for almost 2 years, and every day felt the same. The dust storms howled across the barren landscape, the machines groaned under constant strain, and the energy hub that kept the colony alive never seemed to work properly. He was used to crawling through narrow tunnels with only a toolkit and a dim lamp for company. The job was tiring, but it was also his duty. Without the hub, there would be no power, no heat, and no life for the settlers. That night, a sudden blackout struck. The lights in the colony blinked out, the hum of the machines died, and a heavy silence filled the air. Aaron sighed as he grabbed his tools. Another breakdown, he thought. The others panicked whenever the lights went off, but for him, it was just another long night of repairs. He put on his helmet, switched on the lamp, and made his way through the maintenance tunnels toward the reactor core. The tunnels were cold and dark, filled with the smell of metal and oil. He moved carefully, his footsteps echoing softly. As he reached the lower chamber of the energy hub, something caught his attention. The glow from his lamp reflected off something unusual near the reactor. At first he thought it was a piece of broken machinery, but as he came closer he froze. Lying on the floor just a few steps from the humming reactor was a figure. It was a woman, or at least she looked like one. Her skin shimmered faintly with pale blue light, almost as if veins of electricity ran beneath it. She was unclothed, but her body bore strange markings like circuits etched into her skin. They pulsed softly in rhythm, as though she were alive and connected to some hidden energy source. Aaron's breath caught in his throat. He had seen many things during his time in the colony. Broken machines, dangerous accidents, even wild alien animals, but never something like this. He knelt down carefully, unsure if she was dangerous or fragile. Her eyes were closed, and her chest rose and fell in slow, steady breaths. She looked peaceful, almost human, but the strange glow gave her an otherworldly appearance. Aaron reached out, then stopped himself. He didn't know if touching her would harm her or himself. Electricity crackled faintly around her arms like tiny sparks dancing across her skin. For a long moment, Aaron simply stared. Who was she? How had she gotten here? The colony was far from any alien settlements, and the planet itself was barren. No one should have been able to survive outside without protective gear. Yet here she was, lying near the reactor as if she belonged there. A thought crossed his mind. Could she be an alien worker, someone sent secretly to help with the hub? But that made no sense. No records, no transports, no warnings. Nothing had suggested such a thing. And besides, she didn't look like someone here to repair machinery. She looked like something else, something more. The lights above flickered faintly as the hub struggled to restart itself. The glow on her skin pulsed in time with the reactor's failing rhythm, almost as if she were connected to it. Aaron frowned. This was not a coincidence. Whoever, or whatever she was, she had a link to the very heart of the colony's lifeline. He tapped his communicator, trying to call the control center, but the signal was dead. The blackout had knocked out communications too. He was alone with no way to explain what he had found. He glanced back at her, torn between fear and curiosity. She stirred slightly, her lips parting as if whispering something, but no sound came out. Aaron finally gathered his courage. He slipped his jacket off and carefully draped it over her, not wanting to leave her exposed on the cold metal floor. Her skin felt warm beneath the fabric, warmer than it should have been in the freezing chamber. As the jacket touched her, her eyes fluttered open for the briefest moment. They were not like human eyes. They shone with a soft silver glow, reflecting the dim light of his lamp. Then they closed again and she fell back into unconsciousness. Aaron's heart pounded. He knew then that she wasn't just an electrician or some lost worker. She was something else entirely, something powerful, mysterious, and connected to the energy that kept the colony alive. He didn't know whether to fear her or protect her, but he did know one thing. The colony would never believe this unless he showed them. And yet, deep inside, a voice warned him not to tell anyone just yet. Something about her felt secret, fragile, and important. He sat beside her, listening to the distant hum of the reactor trying to recover, and realized his life had just changed forever. The medical bay was quiet except for the steady hum of the machines. Aaron sat on a chair near the bed, his eyes fixed on the strange woman he had carried from the reactor chamber. She had not woken again since that brief moment when her silver eyes opened. Now she lay still, her skin faintly glowing with soft pulses of light. The colony doctor had examined her but left quickly, shaking his head in confusion. He had never seen anything like her. The machines showed that her body was alive, her heartbeat steady, but her biology did not match anything in the human records. Aaron stayed behind when the others left, curiosity gnawing at him. He could not forget how her glow had matched the failing rhythm of the reactor. It was as if she was not only alive but also part of some energy system he did not understand. He leaned forward, resting his arms on his knees, and studied her face. Despite the strange markings across her skin, she looked almost human. Her features were calm, her hair dark and smooth, falling across the pillow. She could have been anyone, except she wasn't. Hours passed before she finally stirred. Her breathing changed, and her hands twitched slightly against the blanket. Aaron straightened at once, his heart racing. Slowly, her eyes opened again. The same silver glow filled them, soft but unearthly. She looked around the room in confusion before her gaze settled on Aaron. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then her lips moved, and a quiet sound escaped. "Where am I?" Her voice was soft and uncertain, like someone learning to speak for the first time. "You're safe," Aaron said carefully. "This is a human colony. I found you near the reactor." "Who are you?" She blinked, struggling to form words. "Lyra. My name." "Lyra?" Aaron repeated the name under his breath. It sounded delicate, fitting for her. "Lyra," he said aloud, nodding. "What happened to you? How did you get here?" Her brow furrowed as if she was trying to remember something painful. "I fell. No, I escaped." Her words were broken, her accent strange, but he could understand enough. "I was not made to be free. I was made to serve." Aaron felt a chill at her words. Made to serve by who? Lyra shook her head, her eyes full of fear and sadness. "My people. Not people, my makers. They created me. Not born, built, designed, to hold energy, to heal broken stars, to feed the machines. But I ran far." Her hand trembled as she placed it against her chest. "I was too weak. The reactor. It pulled me in. I slept." Aaron stared at her, his mind spinning. She was not just an alien. She was something else entirely. A living machine, or perhaps something between life and technology. "You mean you are connected to energy?" She nodded slowly. Sparks flickered faintly along her arm as if to prove her words. "I carry it inside. I was made to balance the flow. Without me, machines collapse. With me, they survive." Aaron leaned back in his chair, struggling to process her explanation. If what she said was true, then she was unlike anything humans had ever encountered. A being who could hold and control energy with her own body. He thought about the colony's failing hub. Could she repair it? Or was she the reason it had flared up in the first place? Before he could ask, the door slid open and one of the colony supervisors stepped in. He gave Aaron a suspicious look, then turned to Lyra. "So this is the stranger you dragged in." "What is she?" Aaron hesitated. He wanted to tell the truth, but something inside told him it was dangerous. If the colony leaders knew what Lyra was, they might treat her like a tool instead of a person. He looked at Lyra and then back at the supervisor. "She's just someone I found near the reactor," he said carefully. "Maybe she was caught in the storm outside and wandered in." The supervisor frowned, clearly doubtful, but after a moment he shrugged. "If she can work, maybe she can help fix the hub. We need every hand we can get. Otherwise, she's just another mouth to feed." With that, he left the room. Lyra's glowing eyes met Aaron's. She had understood every word. There was a silent plea in her expression, as if asking him not to betray her secret. Aaron gave a small nod. "Don't worry," he whispered. "I won't tell them." Her lips curved slightly, the faintest trace of a smile. "You see me? Not machine, not tool. You see me?" Aaron felt a strange warmth in his chest at those words. He did not know why, but he wanted to protect her. He wanted to understand her, even if the rest of the colony never could. That night, as the colony's lights flickered uncertainly, Aaron remained in the med bay. Lyra spoke little, her strength not yet returned, but she stayed awake long enough to ask questions about humans, about the colony, about life lived freely. Each answer seemed to surprise her, as though she had never imagined a world where someone was not owned or used. And as Aaron sat by her side, he realized that whatever Lyra truly was, her arrival was not an accident. She was tied to the energy hub, to the strange failures that had plagued the colony and perhaps even to something much larger. She was not just an electrician, not just a worker, not just an alien. She was something new, something dangerous, something precious. Aaron did not know what the future would bring, but he knew one thing clearly. His discovery of Lyra had changed everything, and nothing in the colony or in his life would ever be the same again. The next few days in the colony passed in an uneasy rhythm. Power cuts came more often, and the miners grumbled about the failing hub. Everyone knew that without stable energy, the settlement could not survive long. The machines that kept the air warm, the water flowing, and the food growing all depended on that hub. Aaron worked double shifts to keep everything from breaking down, but even his skill could not hide the fact that the system was close to collapse. During these long hours, Aaron noticed something strange. Whenever Lyra was near the energy hub, the machine seemed steadier. The flickering lights calmed, the hum of the reactors grew smoother, and the wild surges eased. It was subtle, almost too small to notice, but Aaron was an observant man. He saw the way the pulses in her glowing skin matched the rhythm of the power flow. She never admitted it aloud, but Aaron was sure she was affecting the hub without touching a single wire. One night, after finishing repairs in the lower tunnels, Aaron found her standing silently in front of the main conduit. She wore the simple clothes the colony had given her, but the faint blue light under her skin still shone through. Her eyes were fixed on the crackling currents moving behind the thick glass. "You're doing it again, aren't you?" Aaron asked quietly. Lyra turned, startled as if she had been caught. "Doing what?" "You're stabilizing the hub. It runs smoother when you're close. I've seen it." She hesitated before answering. "I do not mean to." "It is what I am. Energy flows to me. Machines feel it. I cannot stop it." Aaron stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Then why hide it? If the others knew, they'd ask you to help." Her face darkened. "No, if they knew, they would not ask. They would take. That is what always happens. That is why I escaped." Aaron remembered her broken words from the med bay, not born, built, made to serve. He realized then that she was not hiding from the colony. She was hiding from something much larger, something that had created her and used her like a living tool. "Who are they, Lyra?" he asked softly. "Who made you?" She turned back to the glowing conduit, her silver eyes reflecting the sparks inside. "They call themselves architects. Not like your builders. They do not build homes or ships. They build stars. They bind suns and worlds together with machines. For them I am nothing but part of those machines." Her voice trembled slightly. "We are many, my kind. We were shaped to live inside the hearts of suns, to hold them steady, to make them burn forever. We do not live free. We serve until we break." Aaron felt his chest tighten as he listened. The thought of living beings designed only to be used as fuel was unbearable. "And you ran away," he said. Lyra nodded. "I broke my chains. I fled far. But they will find me. They always find us." As if her words had summoned it, the lights above flickered violently. The ground beneath their feet trembled with a deep vibration. Alarms blared through the colony halls. Aaron grabbed the railing for balance. What was that? Lyra's glow brightened suddenly, fear flashing in her eyes. "They are close. I feel them." Aaron's communicator crackled to life. "Control to all engineers," a voice shouted. "Unidentified objects in orbit. Power surges across all systems. We need a status report now." Aaron looked at Lyra. "Is it them? The architects?" She shook her head. "Not the masters. They're hunters. Machines sent to bring me back. They will not ask. They will take me." Aaron's mind raced. If the colony discovered the truth now, they would hand her over out of fear. The miners had families to protect, and survival always came first. But Aaron could not let that happen. Lyra was more than what she had been made to be. She was alive. She was learning. And she deserved freedom. He grabbed her hand, feeling a faint current hum through her skin. "Then we need to hide you. Come on." They moved quickly through the tunnels, the alarms echoing Abe. Outside, streaks of light cut across the night sky as the hunters entered the atmosphere. They were not ships in the way humans understood them. They were vast machines shaped like skeletal birds, wings crackling with raw energy. Their bodies glowed with cold blue light, like fragments of broken stars given form. The colony's defense systems were weak, never meant to face such things. From the control tower, the leaders shouted orders to prepare the shields. But Aaron knew it was hopeless. The machines were here for one purpose, and they would not leave without it. As he pulled Lyra into a storage bay, he turned to her. "If they're after you, then maybe we can use that. Maybe we can trick them." Lyra's face was pale, her glow dimming with fear. "You would risk yourself for me?" "Why, I am not human. I am only what they built." Aaron shook his head firmly. "No, you're not just what they built. You're more. I see it every time you look at this world with wonder. You're alive, Lyra. That's all that matters." For the first time since he had met her, her eyes softened with something close to hope. She whispered, "Then we must fight together." Outside, the colony shook as the hunters descended. The people of the settlement prepared for a storm they could not understand. While deep in the tunnels, a human technician and an alien woman who was not just a machine prepared for what was to come. Aaron had no illusions about the danger. But he knew one thing for certain. Humanity had always survived by standing together, by refusing to be broken, and by protecting those who could not protect themselves. And now that spirit burned in him brighter than ever. The colony was no longer quiet. The sky above the dusty horizon burned with streaks of light as the hunters circled like vultures waiting to strike. The defense alarms screamed through every hallway, and families huddled together in fear. The miners grabbed whatever tools could be used as weapons, though in their hearts they knew nothing they carried would be enough. The machines outside were not raiders or wild animals. They were built for one purpose: to capture, to retrieve, to bring back whatever they were sent to find. Aaron stood with Lyra near the lower hangar, listening to the chaos echo above them. The colony leaders were shouting orders, their voices sharp with panic. The communication system was still unstable, every message broken by static. Finally, the central speaker boomed across the halls. "This is Commander Riven. All citizens remain indoors. All engineers report to defense stations. Unidentified drones are demanding access to our colony. They say one of their assets has escaped here. We do not know what they mean, but we will negotiate." Aaron looked at Lyra, whose face had gone pale. Her silver eyes reflected the dim emergency lights. "They will not negotiate," she whispered. "They do not understand the word. They will only take." The commander's voice returned, tense but steady. "They demand we surrender this stabilizer. If we do, they claim they will leave us unharmed." Aaron's stomach twisted. He knew who they meant. Everyone in the colony would soon know too. The thought of Lyra being handed over made his fists clench. He had seen her fear, her confusion, and her small smiles of wonder. She was not an object. She was not a tool. Lyra sank against the wall, her glow flickering. "They will use force. They will kill to reach me. Your people cannot fight them." Aaron crouched beside her. "Then we find another way. But listen to me, Lyra, you are not going back to them. Not while I'm still breathing." For a moment she stared at him as if trying to believe his words. Then she nodded slowly. Above, the negotiations began. Through the static of his communicator, Aaron caught fragments of the exchange. The hunters' voices were not human. They were flat, mechanical, each word vibrating with cold finality. "Surrender the stabilizer. Failure will result in removal of colony. Non-compliance is not allowed." The commander tried to stall. "We cannot hand over someone without proof of your claim." "Who are you? Why should we trust your word?" But the hunters repeated the same message again, emotionless and unchanging. "Surrender the stabilizer!" Aaron gritted his teeth. He could already picture how the leaders would react. Faced with the choice between saving one strange being and protecting hundreds of their own people, they would give Lyra up. It was the logical choice, but it was not the human choice. Not the choice Aaron could accept. The colony's lights flickered violently and a deep vibration shook the ground. The hunters were no longer waiting. They had begun probing the shields, sending waves of energy against the protective barriers. Sparks shot across the outer walls as the defenses groaned under the strain. The miners rushed to reinforce the shield generators, but the power hub was already unstable. It would not hold for long. Aaron turned to Lyra. "Can you help us? Can you strengthen the shields?" Lyra's hands trembled. "If I give too much, I will burn out. That is how they made us, to be used until empty." "Not this time," Aaron said firmly. "We'll find a way that doesn't destroy you. We're not like them." Her gaze softened, a flicker of trust in her silver eyes. "I will try." Together, they hurried to the control chamber where the shield systems were controlled. The commander and several engineers were already there. shouting over the noise of failing machines. When Aaron and Lyra entered, all eyes turned. Murmurs rippled through the room. They had guessed. This was the one the hunters wanted. The commander stepped forward, his face hard. "Aaron, who is she? What did you bring into my colony?" Aaron swallowed hard. He could feel the weight of every stare on him. "She's not what they say she is. She's alive. She's not a tool, not an asset. She's someone who escaped them. And if we give her up, we're no better than the monsters outside." The commander's jaw tightened. "And if we don't?" "Hundreds of lives are at stake. This colony cannot fight them." Lyra stepped forward, her voice quiet but steady. "I can help. I can give your shield strength. But if I do, they will know I am here. They will come harder." The commander hesitated, torn between fear and hope. Finally, he gave a sharp nod. "Do it. If it buys us time, then do it." Lyra placed her glowing hands against the shield console. Sparks leapt from her skin into the circuits. The room filled with a blinding light as the failing shields outside surged back to full power. For a moment, the hunters were driven back, their wings scattering against the reinforced barrier. The engineers gasped in awe. Aaron stood close to Lyra, watching her carefully. He could see the strain on her face, but she remained standing, her glow steady. She was holding. Outside, the hunters regrouped, their mechanical voices rising in unison. Unauthorized resistance. "This colony is now marked for removal." Aaron's stomach dropped at the words. The hunters would not leave, not now. They would destroy everything to get what they wanted. But as he looked at Lyra, standing tall with her hands glowing brighter than ever, he felt a spark of defiance burn inside him. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and this time they would not bow. The battle for the colony had begun. The colony shook under the pressure of the hunters. Every strike against the shields was like thunder rolling across the sky. Sparks flew from overloaded circuits and frightened voices carried through the halls. The settlers had never faced anything like this before. The machines outside were relentless, their cold voices repeating the same command again and again. "Surrender the stabilizer." Inside the control chamber, Aaron stood beside Lyra, watching her glow ripple through the shield console. For now, she was holding the defenses steady, but Aaron could see the strain in her face. Each pulse of light from her skin looked weaker than the last. Sweat beaded on her brow, and her hands trembled against the metal surface. "You can't keep this up forever," Aaron said urgently. Lyra nodded faintly. "I know they will not stop. They never stop. When one fails, another comes." The commander paced behind them, his eyes darting between the screens showing the hunters outside. "We need more than shields," he growled. "We need a way to fight back," Aaron's mind raced. Human weapons were useless against machines built to control stars. But humans had always survived by thinking differently, by finding cracks where others saw walls. His eyes fell on the reactor systems. A dangerous idea began forming. "What if we turn the hub itself into a weapon?" Aaron said slowly. "If we overload the core and release it all at once, it could fry their systems. An electromagnetic burst strong enough to cripple them." The commander turned sharply. "That could also cripple us. If the hub fails completely, the colony dies." Aaron met his eyes. "Then we have no colony anyway. It's risk everything or lose everything." Lyra's glow flickered as she listened. "It is possible," she whispered, "but not safe. The surge would tear through me. I was made to channel energy, but this would be more than I can bear." Aaron shook his head firmly. "Then we'll find another way. I won't let you destroy yourself." For a moment, silence filled the room, broken only by the pounding of the hunters outside. Everyone looked at Aaron, waiting to see if his bold words would turn into something real. He studied the schematics on the console, tracing lines of energy in his mind. Then he realized what they had been missing. "It doesn't have to destroy you," he said suddenly. "If we redirect the flow, spread it across the colony's circuits, you won't have to carry it all alone. You'll guide it, but the machines will carry the weight. Like building more hands to help you hold it." Lyra tilted her head, her silver eyes wide. "No one has ever thought like that. My makers only saw us as containers. They never gave us tools to ease the burden." "That's because they never cared," Aaron replied. "But humans do. We build together. We survive together." The commander hesitated, then slammed his hand on the console. "Do it. If this plan gives us a chance, then it's worth the risk." The engineers sprang into action, rerouting circuits and opening pathways in the grid. Aaron worked with them, his hands moving fast across the panels, his mind focused like never before. Lyra stayed at the center, her glow steady now, guided by the trust she placed in him. As the hunters outside prepared for another strike, Aaron and Lyra made their move. The hub roared with power, lights blazing across the colony as the energy built to dangerous levels. The ground vibrated and alarms screamed warnings of overload. Lyra closed her eyes, her voice soft but strong. "Guide me." Aaron placed his hand over hers on the console. Together, he said, the surge burst outward. A blinding wave of electromagnetic energy shot into the sky, spreading like a storm across the atmosphere. The hunters shrieked in mechanical voices as their wings sparked and faltered. One by one, their cold lights dimmed and they crashed into the barren desert outside the colony, smoking and broken. Inside, the lights flickered but held. The systems groaned under the strain, but the redirected circuits did their job. The colony lived. A cheer erupted in the control chamber. Engineers clapped each other on the back, and even the stern commander allowed himself a smile of relief. But Aaron's eyes were only on Lyra. She swayed on her feet, her glow dimmer than before. He caught her before she could fall. "You're all right," he whispered. "You're still here." Her lips curved into a faint smile. "Because you shared the burden. No one has ever done that for me before." Aaron held her steady, his chest tight with emotions he couldn't name. "Get used to it. That's what we do. That's what being human means." But even as relief spread through the colony, Aaron knew this was not the end. The hunters had been defeated, but their masters would learn of it. The architects would not ignore the loss of their property. They would come stronger and faster to reclaim what they believed was theirs. Aaron looked out at the smoking wreckage in the desert and felt a chill. This small victory was only the beginning of something far larger. But as long as Lyra was with them, as long as she believed in her right to be free, he knew humanity would stand beside her. Lyra squeezed his hand gently. "They will come again," Aaron nodded. "Then we'll be ready." For the first time since the crisis began, hope burned brighter than fear. The desert was quiet after the battle, but the silence felt heavy, like the air before another storm. The wreckage of the hunters lay scattered across the sand, twisted and burned. Some settlers walked among the fallen machines, their faces filled with wonder and disbelief. For the first time they had seen the hunters fall. For the first time victory seemed possible. But inside the colony, Aaron knew the danger was far from over. The hunters had not come on their own. Somewhere in the void, the architects were watching. Sooner or later, they would send more. He stood near the observation deck, looking out across the barren land when Lyra joined him. Her glow was soft like fading starlight, but there was peace in her expression. "They will come again," she said quietly. Aaron nodded. "I know, and they won't underestimate us next time." Her eyes searched his face. "Do you fear them?" "Yes," he admitted. "But I fear more what will happen if we do nothing. We fought back once. That means we can fight again." The commander entered the room, his boots heavy against the floor. "Scouts report no survivors among the hunters," he said. "But signals are already stirring beyond the system. They'll know what happened here soon." Aaron turned to him. "Then we need to prepare. We can't just wait for them to strike again. We need to build defenses they won't expect." The commander raised an eyebrow. "And what do you suggest?" "Our weapons are toys compared to theirs." Aaron's mind was already working. "Not weapons like theirs. Weapons like us. We survived because we thought differently. We need to use that again. The colony's reactors, the energy fields, the old mining rigs, we can turn all of it into something new. Traps, shields, ways to bend their power back on them." The commander studied him for a long moment. Finally, he gave a short nod. "You think like a soldier. Maybe not trained, but ready." Lyra tilted her head. "Humans are strange. You do not see limits the way my makers did. That is why you survive." Over the next days, the colony became a hive of activity. Engineers worked day and night to strengthen the shields and rewire the grid. Farmers and workers, unused to battle, carried parts and tools, lending their hands to the defense. Even children fetched water and food for the tired crews. Everyone understood now that survival was no longer a matter of hiding. They had to stand together. Aaron spent most of his time with Lyra. She taught him about the energy flows in the stabilizer, about the way power moved like a river through the circuits. He, in return, showed her how humans solved problems with trial and error. testing ideas even if they failed. They laughed together when sparks flew from a miswired panel, and they sat in silence when exhaustion pressed down on them. Slowly, they grew closer, bound by more than just necessity. One evening, as the sun sank behind the mountains, Aaron and Lyra stood outside the colony walls. The wrecks of the hunters still littered the sand, but now they were being dismantled. Human hands pulled apart alien metal, studying circuits, shaping new tools from old enemies. "Do you ever wonder what freedom means?" Lyra asked softly. Aaron looked at her. "It means no one owns you. It means you choose your own path." Her eyes shimmered. "I have never chosen before. I was created for one purpose. Now I do not know what I am meant to be." Aaron smiled faintly. "Maybe that's the point. You don't have to be what they made you. You can be whatever you want. That's what freedom is." She was silent for a moment, then whispered, "And if what I want is to stand with you?" Aaron felt warmth in his chest. "Then I'd say you've made your first choice." Before he could say more, alarms echoed through the colony. Red lights flashed along the walls. The commander's voice barked through the speakers. "Incoming vessels detected. Multiple signatures entering orbit." Fear rippled through the people. Workers dropped their tools. Children clung to their parents. Everyone remembered the hunters and knew what new machines could bring. Aaron grabbed Lyra's hand. "It's too soon," he muttered. "We're not ready yet." Lyra squeezed his fingers. "But we will face it, together." On the main screen inside the control chamber, shapes appeared above the planet. Sleek black ships slid from the stars, their outlines sharp against the glow of the sun. Unlike the hunters, these ships moved with greater purpose, like predators who knew exactly where their prey was hiding. The commander's jaw tightened. "These are not hunters. These are enforcers. The architects are sending their true hand now." A hush fell over the room. The settlers looked to Aaron, to Lyra, to the commander, searching for hope. Aaron straightened his shoulders. "We knew this would happen. But they don't know us yet. They don't know what we've built, or what we're willing to do." Lyra's glow brightened as she stood beside him. "They will learn. For the first time in their endless rule, they will face resistance not from machines but from hearts that refuse to bow." The commander raised his hand. "All crews to positions. We hold the line." Outside, the black ships descended slowly, their shadows spreading across the desert. The air hummed with their power, and the ground shook as they prepared to strike. The colony, small and fragile against the vast machines, braced itself. Aaron felt fear, but also fire. They had won once. They had built hope out of nothing. And no matter how strong the enemy was, humanity had something machines would never understand: the will to fight for freedom. As the first beam of light cut through the sky, the battle for survival truly began. The black ships hovered above the colony, their shapes dark and menacing against the desert sky. The settlers stood in the streets holding tools, weapons, and hope, ready to defend their homes. The hum of alien energy filled the air, vibrating through the ground and rattling windows. This was no ordinary attack. These were the enforcers of the architects, and they had come for Lyra. Aaron stood at the control console, his hand tight around Lyra's. Her glow pulsed steadily, but he could see the strain in her silver eyes. "Are you ready?" he asked. She nodded, though a faint tremor passed through her body. "I do not know if I am strong enough, but I will not let them take me." Aaron squeezed her hand. "We faced them together. That's all that matters." The first strike came without warning. Beams of energy rained down on the colony, cutting through walls and sending sparks flying from metal structures. The settlers ducky ran, but the shields held, reinforced by Lyra's energy. Her glow surged with each attack, the power flowing through her like a river guided by Aaron's careful instructions. "Focus on the northern perimeter," he shouted. "Divert power through the secondary conduits." Lyra's hands moved over the control panels, sparks arcing across her skin as she channeled the energy. Her pulse accelerated, but she remained steady. The alien enforcers hesitated for the first time, their attack slowing as the electromagnetic interference disrupted their systems. Aaron noticed the tiniest crack in the lead ship's armor. "There," he shouted. "Target the central node. Use the mining lasers." The engineers scrambled to aim the old mining equipment, now converted into crude but effective weapons. Beams of light shot upward, striking the alien hull. Sparks and smoke erupted and the ship tilted, faltering in orbit. Lyra's glow brightened even more, the energy from her body linking with the colony's defenses. Aaron felt the vibration of power through the floor, through his hands and through her. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced. She was not just holding energy. She was part of it. The settlers watched in awe as the enforcers struggled against a force they could not predict. Humans and Lyra together had turned the tide. Every strike the aliens launched was met with resistance. Every attempt to seize Lyra was blocked by ingenuity, courage, and energy controlled by a being who was more than machine. One of the ships began to falter completely, its systems overloaded by the combined human and Lyra-driven defenses. It spiraled downward, crashing into the desert with a thunderous explosion. The settlers cheered, but Aaron knew it was not enough. More ships would come, and the architects would not give up easily. Lyra sank to her knees, her glow dimming. "I cannot hold much longer," she whispered, sweat and sparks flying from her arms. Aaron knelt beside her, holding her close. "Then we do it together," he said. "We'll share the load." With careful guidance, he helped Lyra redirect her energy across multiple conduits, spreading the strain throughout the colony systems. The glow returned to her, stronger this time, steady and controlled. Together, human creativity and alien power formed a shield the architects had never imagined, a living, adaptive defense. The enforcers struggled, their strikes growing weaker. The remaining ships faltered, systems failing one by one. Aaron could see the wear in their calculated movements, the realization that these humans were not predictable machines to be overpowered. They were clever, adaptive, and fearless. Finally, with a final surge of energy from Lyra and the colony's systems, the last ship was forced into retreat. Sparks flew, alarms blared, but the sky cleared. Silence fell over the desert once more. The settlers emerged cautiously, looking at the horizon and the smoking wreckage. For the first time, victory was theirs. Aaron helped Lyra to her feet. Her glow had dimmed to a soft shimmer, exhaustion clear on her face. He smiled gently. "You did it. We did it." Lyra looked around at the humans, at the colony that had become a fortress of courage, and then at Aaron. I never imagined freedom like this. Never imagined someone would stand with me. Not as a tool, not as a machine, but as me." Aaron shook his head. "No one can ever take you back now. You're free to choose, and if you want to stay, we'll stand with you." Her eyes filled with a light he had never seen before. Hope, relief, and something else. Something like joy. "Then I will stay," she said softly. "I want to learn what it means to live, to be free, and to stand with humans." Over the next days, the colony rebuilt. The survivors worked tirelessly, inspired by what they had achieved. Lyra helped repair the energy systems, but now not out of obligation. She did it because she wanted to. Aaron guided her through human customs, teaching her about trust, laughter, and choice. The colony thrived, stronger than before. The threat of the architects remained, but humanity had proven something important. Even the most powerful machines could not break the spirit of those who refused to surrender. Lyra had become a symbol, not just of survival, but of the unique strength that humans shared with those willing to fight for freedom. Aaron watched her one evening. As she adjusted the flow of energy in the hub, her glow soft and steady, she was no longer just an alien or an electrician. She was alive, free, and part of something greater, a testament to what humans could inspire. And as the desert wind blew across the colony, carrying the dust of battle into the distance, Aaron knew that no matter what came next, humanity would always stand. They would fight. They would protect. They would survive. And together, they could show the universe what freedom really meant.